Hello. Okay, we begin the next episode.
Yes,
Yes,
it's gonna be a review episode.
yes. And today we are reviewing we are reviewing The Black Mirror, which is a manhwa that has been completed and written and drawn by two different people, written by Muhwa and art by Sugeun. And it was released during the pandemic in 2020.
Yep. And if you're interested in reading the English translation, you should be able to find this on Tappy Tunes.
Yep. So for my personal journey with it, I started it for a while and then just dropped it, and then restarted it because it had been too long since. But I'm glad I picked it back up again because it's really good.
Yeah, the tropes that fall in Black Mirror are totally up my alley. So this story was definitely something that I binge read when I first picked it up. So when I did a reread of this, it was still pretty fun and interesting to go through.
Yes.
Yeah. So
What were the tropes about it that really connected you to it?
so if you're really into horror, some psychological thriller, in your BL stories, this story like Black Mirror is definitely
Bro, I don't
one
think
to
it's
go.
some psychological the entire
It's
thing.
a lot of psychological
filled with gaslighting.
Yes. So the overall like basis of the story, you're pretty much following a police officer student, right?
Yes.
And his name is
Taejun.
but we'll call him June for short because that's how he's referred to throughout the storyline. And it starts off pretty lighthearted. He's sort of like this happy-go-lucky guy. He has lots of friends. He's very popular. He's very strong, athletic, conventionally like attractive. And of course, being the broke student that he is, he's sort of desperate to find a place to rent so that he's close to school. And literally right off the bat in the first chapter, he comes across this random house where he sees this hot guy smoking out the window.
Red flag immediately. Literally,
flag.
his house is red.
Yes.
It's a red flag.
Yes. But this guy smoking out the window, his name is Yeonwoo, and when he catches like a glimpse of June, Yeonwoo is like extremely excited. This complete stranger comes down and says, "Oh my God, it's been a while. Like we were childhood friends." And the thing with June is that he has no memory or recollection of his childhood or past whatsoever. So when he finds out that this random dude is all welcoming stuff, he tries to like put it straight to him and say, "Hey man, like I don't really know you. I don't really remember you." But the thing that sort of legitimizes their childhood connection is that they both share the same scars on their hands. And so June, being like super curious about his past, goes up to Yeonwoo and goes like, "Oh, can you tell me like everything that we did in our childhood and all this stuff?" But Yeonwoo's like he's did a complete 180 where he went from being like super affectionate and endearing to someone's like, oh, like almost disgusted in a way, saying like, "You're not the same guy I knew." And so there's sort of like this very awkward, tense like moment between the two. And you'll find this happen a lot throughout this series, but then June sort of breaks the ice and comically asks, or like a poorly timed question saying like, "Hey man, do you have a room I can rent?"
Yeah. Even though you fucking hate me.
Yes. And that's sort of how the story ends up spiraling from there, focusing on the story between June and Yeonwoo, and trying to figure out what really was their history with each other.
Right. And like what actually happened.
Yes.
I think it was interesting that you pointed out I personally don't see him as a happy-go-lucky guy. I think he was a goody two-shoes, and I think that was a major part of his character growth And it's something that's very slowly and kind of gradually revealed throughout the story, where it's like it is an act he's putting on. Like, he works really hard in his classes. He's like at the top of his class. All of the other students like hate him or like admire him or are jealous of him. The running theme throughout is that he's missing something deep inside because of like that missing, like, that he doesn't remember.
That missing memory.
Yeah. It becomes clear overall because in a way Yonu is like a kind of bad influence, in the sense that
Yeah, he indulges his bad behavior.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He wants that kind of inner resentment that he's been desperately trying to hide away to come out. And you can see that slowly kind of surfacing as he like slowly starts to abandon his like commitment to being a good student over time, because he's being dragged around by Yanu's manipulative tactics. And
very manipulative, very
yes,
seductive.
he's an awful
tactics.
human
Yes,
being,
yeah.
bro. That man was fucking crazy. Every time I was reading it, I'm like, this guy is like implementing every tactic from the gaslighting textbook. Like, bro, this poor guy was being led on horribly. But in a way, though, you kind of see it's like you begin to doubt whether what he's doing is a bad thing, because clearly Jun is also in actuality not so great of a person himself.
Yeah.
And I think the other premise to bring up is that, like, so clearly his past is tied to this house that Yonu lives in still. They're like, he slowly starts to regain his childhood memories in relation to this house. And there is a black room in there, and it is a black room that clearly has the secrets to like all of his nightmares and hallucinations and trauma. And he always sees himself in the mirror, and it's just like this evil grinning version of himself, and like whispers and all of that, and they keep him up at night, and they all stem from that black room. And the whole problem, the only reason Yonu is letting him stay is because like he wants him to remember how he was in the past, and that is connected ultimately to what happened when they were together in the black room as kids.
Yes.
So, and I think that was ultimately what he was, and that was why they kind of, I guess a spoiler is that like toward the end of the story they like temporarily break up, because because it was revealed that the only reason that Yonu liked him is because he didn't like him the way he was now. He wanted him to be who he was as a child.
Yeah, which is like someone who gave in to their impulsive, dark thoughts of literally wanting to seek revenge and rip up the people that have wronged them or offended them in any way. And so one of the big things about Black Mirror is that you can never really trust your narrator. June is definitely a very unreliable narrator. Where you think that in the beginning, you think that he's like this victim that's being used by not only Yeonwoo, but also like his own colleagues and even his own, I think it's his teacher, right? But once you see like glimpses of like those dark thoughts manifesting in June, you sort of realize like, oh, this is what Yeonwoo was attracted to. And maybe this is how June secretly does feel. He's just been suppressing it for most of his life just so he can be considered as normal. And for context, June was an orphan. And so a lot of like events, or most of his life, he was pretty much an outcast from society. And all he really wanted to do was fit in. So you'll see a lot of moments where June would sort of just give in to his people-pleasing tendencies just to make sure that everyone around him is happy, because that's what makes him feel the most comfortable.
Because he was used to be judged a lot for being an orphan.
Although one of the weird quirks that June has is that when he has like these moments, like these panic attacks almost, he'll like go somewhere else, like typically the bathroom, and literally choke himself.
Yes,
yes. Like, okay.
The that was one thing I wanted to figure out. So here's the thing. clearly something happened in that room. And the other thing is that house is filled with mirrors. And there are tons of like mirrors everywhere, and wherever he goes, there's just like versions of him looking at himself through the mirror that are not how he is currently. But another big trope is the hands.
Yes, lots of
Lots of hands, lots of very well drawn hands
but
too.
they're a
The
little
author had
bloody.
yes,
They're a little
yes.
bloody.
The author had the artist had a kink clearly.
Yeah, a choking kink.
Yes, very much a choking kink. Yeah, so I was like, holy shit. Nice. But here's what I think, because and the other thing is whenever he wakes up, whenever Jun wakes up in the house, these like random disembodied like hallucinated hands are like touching him sexually and like groping him and all of that. So it led me to think that was the traumatic situation in the black room like was it like sexual abuse? That's what I thought it was. It wound up not being that. So I
Yeah.
ended up wondering, so what was the hand? Like
What were the hands?
Yeah.
I think they could have. So this is like where one of the faults you could point out in this story be like maybe even a plot hole of some sort is that you don't really know the origins of the hands and these almost like supernatural abilities that these malevolent entities have. Like they definitely can be related to a more metaphorical or like a metaphorical message
Right,
to
right.
abuse and like suppression of one's emotions, maybe even like DID. Um, but in reality, I think it's sort of hinted throughout the story too. You'll hear people talk about cults, and maybe this was something that was an entity that was attempted to be summoned by the adults in their life, um, and failed. However, this entity seemed to respond well to June and Yeonwoo's like desperation when they were young, and their desperation to be the only ones in the house because Yeonwoo's parents were rather very abusive and rather very condescending to June as well. Their wish to be alone and to completely remove Yeonwoo's parents from the picture resulted in the evaporation or the death of Yeonwoo's parents, which would then lead to the separation between June and Yeonwoo, which would trigger, I guess, June's memory loss.
Yeah, I think it's like it reminds me of those cases where like sometimes when children go through extreme trauma, their little brains are like unable to process it, so it literally shuts down. Like whenever like that entire memory of the incident because they physically can't handle it, or like when they try to think about it, they shut down. I think maybe that's what
That's what it
happened.
was.
Yeah.
Although I thought it was a little weird that they were 5. It didn't feel like they had the intellect of a 5-year-old. It seemed like they were more like 10-year-olds.
Probably. Yeah, that's true.
But the story states that like he doesn't really remember anything when he was 5. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I think you're right, and that was another question I had. It's that I was hoping they would reveal more about the lore of the Black Room because it was stated later toward the end of the series that there are multiple Black Rooms around the world, and like they call them evaporation cases, and this is the other plot point. Whatever this curse is triggered and the person is desperate enough, the person in front of you kind of explodes or like literally evaporates. And the other thing is it's very close in phenomena to the books that Yonu is writing, because in this current timeline he's a writer and he's like a famous one. He writes these horror novels and they're all very closely related to Jun's life and the incidents that happened while they were growing up. So, point being, what is the Black Room? It was never explained, and that is what I feel. I wish they'd gone deeper into the lore about how these started. And it became a whole thing because remember that random side character Hyunju?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, it kind of slowly surfaces throughout the story that well, it's clear to us as readers that his classmates are really Jun's like police academy classmates are really shitty people. They're really like annoying, they're invasive, they're rude. Um they one guy keeps getting cigarettes burned out on his head
Yeah,
for
I mean,
good
honestly, he
reason.
deserves it.
He's an asshole. But yeah, they're clearly very like not good people. But Jun puts up with them because he's trying to project his image of being a good person no matter what. Because he's scared of who he might actually be. Um, but among all of them, there's this one character who intermittently shows up, and she's genuinely a nice person. And she wishes the best for him and all of that. And toward the end of the series, like, because she also had a difficult life, she confided in him. And then he texts her, like, as they're, like, him with his husband, and they're all bloody, and they're going off into the sunset.
Yeah.
And he's fully accepted his true self. And she is just messaging him, like, oh, did you have a great birthday? Because all his friends were killed on his birthday because he wanted that.
Okay.
And and then he just messages in response, like, if you want to change in your life, find a black room. And that's how it ends. And I'm like, how do you know, like, where is the, fill in the blanks, please.
Yes.
I'm like that, that Vine lady with the Arkansas, like, why is this Arkansas and this is Kansas? Yeah, why not Arkansas?
Kansas.
America, explain. In this case, I need the writer to explain.
You need the writer to explain.
Yeah.
I wish they did side stories for this.
Yeah.
Or they could have made maybe an additional season to it. Because you're right, the story does end almost in a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Because they leave the scene of the crime to, quote-unquote, find more of these black rooms to become stronger. Because it seems like this curse or this entity where they can use these disembodied hands to literally tear apart people they don't like and whisk away into these mirror dimensions to hide their corpses, is something that they can manipulate on their own.
Right.
And I think it's even mentioned that Yeonwoo, when he was abroad in America after his parents passed away, he discovered that he had this ability and he was practicing on how to control it, because I think he ended up accidentally killing his aunt and uncle that were taking care of him with this ability. So yeah.
That's true. I think in early on too, he clearly has control of the mirrors in the house that he grew up in, because so Taejun had like brought his like classmates over to like hang out or like study or something. And that one guy who, like, will put his cigarette out on his head.
Yeah.
He kept trying to be like, oh, you're a famous writer, right? Let me go in and see your like, he kept, like, trying to invade and just be an all-around douchebag. And, like, Yeonwoo kind of just lost it. And, like, when he gets angry, the mirrors in the house shake. Which I thought was so cool.
Yes.
But he clearly does have powers and everything. And I wish that were more explored. In fact, I'm kind of figuring this out now that you're telling me, because I was like, while reading it, I was like, why do they specifically seem to be immune to what what the black room is doing, and everyone else is a victim? But I guess it's that their desperation is so strong. And the other thing is, it's revealed that it kind of captures the user's malice.
Yeah.
That inner resentment and anger that they have, it takes that and weaponizes it. And it's like they're trying to basically show them their true selves.
Like, literally. Because that is the literal reflection that Jun is sort of terrorized with. Is a reflection of himself, sort of egging him on and saying, like, his worst insecurities and his fears. And also his impulsive thoughts being like, don't you wish that they were gone and all this stuff. Or, like, you really do hate them. And, yeah.
Yeah. And it turns out he's literally fearful of himself and what he's capable of. And by the end of the series, he like fully embraces it. And they become murder husbands.
They do become murder husbands. It's just a little sweet, but
I know I feel like it was for me, it was kind of like it was how much of it was like actually himself, and how much of it was Yeonwoo's dastardly manipulation tactics.
Yeah.
He was a huge dickbag.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even, like, every time he'd make some things like, oh, are you overreacting? Or, like, are you, like, this might just be yourself.
Yeah, he does gaslight him because Jun does notice, like, hey, there's weird sounds going around this house, or I swear I left my bedroom door closed the night before. And then you'll see, like, shots of, like, Taejun, like, almost, like, that meme of, like, the T-posing, like, he's just standing there ominously through the cracks, waiting. Like, staring at June
Exactly.
sleeping. But it's sort of weird in a way because he gaslights him, but he knows that June's telling him the truth, and he eventually gives in and tells him like, yeah, you know, these are the actual things and stuff that you like. The things you see are real, and it's sort of like, well, why didn't you tell him that earlier? Because it seems like he was very being the people pleaser that he was. He probably wouldn't have left. He probably would have
Right.
stayed and been like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Which is what he did towards
Right.
the end.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah,
He
I
just ended
accept
up
it.
staying anyway.
Yeah.
And the classic tactic in like domestic abuse cases where they like isolate their victim from their family members and the people they know and their classmates. Like everything he did was like trying to push him away from like his like father figure who like took care of him, his classmates and everything,
Yeah.
and like trying to keep him to himself. And it was like, yo, like I get that you want him to confront his true self, but just show it.
Just show it. Just tell
Instead
him.
of going through all these hoops and shit.
I guess it helps that his mentor and his quote unquote friends were painted in a bad light.
Yeah.
So it's not as I guess it's more forgivable because you're showing him like, hey, these people that you respected or people that you thought were friends are actually assholes.
And we're using him.
But if they were like genuinely good friends and he did that, I think that would not pass.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of Jun's instructor slash father figure slash like everything that happened with him?
I think like his character, like the purpose of that character is very. The pacing was really fast because he was like that generic mentor type. He was. He wants what's best for June, and then you find out later that his mentor knew of Yeonwoo and his aunt and uncle. They even talked about how the mentor ended up having an affair with Yeonwoo's aunt, which really didn't go anywhere. It's just like, oh, he had an affair with his aunt. Like, okay, they're just he knew that Yeonwoo existed. That's all. And also that not Yeonwoo, but like the mentor himself was also like I guess insecure in a way and jealous of the uncle who was supposedly his best friend. And I don't know if he knew about the hands, like the disembodied hands. So I think he knew something was.
He knew something was off, and then like he saw it for himself in at Yeonwoo's house because he voluntarily scared him with it.
Yeah.
And then he started understanding. I think you were right. I think they kind of did pull the affair thing kind of out of I think they were just trying to lead credence to the fact that he has actually been a bad person this whole time.
Yeah.
To give a Jun justification to be mad at him.
Yeah. Which I think it's okay. I wasn't really like strongly. There was no strong connection to the mentor at all.
Right.
I feel because there wasn't really a huge focus on him till like towards the end or the final arc of the series. So to watch him die wasn't really satisfying, but like you knew that he had to be sort of like removed and collateral damage because he was the one thing that was keeping June away from Yeonwoo. Right. And also revealing the truth because he was investigating the evaporation cases. And FYI, I think it's sort of weird. It's sort of like when you watch Hannibal and like Hannibal is clearly the cannibal because like it rhymes and he has all these fancy meat only dinners. Like Yeonwoo's this novel that he wrote that was so popular is literally called Evaporation. And I think like the scenes where like people's bodies would disappear and only a pool of blood was left was similar to what was written in his story. So I'm sort of like wondering why people didn't really put two and two together and be like, hey.
I think they did show in the story that he was under suspicion for it, but like they couldn't like accuse him of anything because obviously they can never connect him to the crime.
I think also because he probably got rid of them.
Probably, yeah, and he'd like put them in the mirror dimension. So, yeah, I did kind of feel like Oh, and there's also the other thing where they revealed that like the instructor was like only taking care of him because he was forced to. Remember that whole line with the lucky charm?
Yes.
Jun used to call him like a lucky charm and everything, and then when the instructor met Yeonwoo at his house, basically was blackmailed too, and he kind of got drunk there because he was like pissed the whole time, and Yeonwoo kept offering him drinks. And he goes back and he's like drunk and just like going to sleep and Jun is there and off. This is like during their temporary breakup.
Yeah.
And he goes to sleep and he's like when Jun is trying to take care of him, he just says "Lucky Charm my ass."
Oh.
And it's just like that immediately clues Jun into the fact that like so like did he really like actually like me the whole time or not?
Did he just put up with
or
him?
yeah, exactly. So that was
Yeah.
kind of messed up.
That is sort of sad.
But
Yeah.
I always thought so. That was the other thing I thought. The story to me, the couple kind of felt like a combination of like Handygram and the couple from At the End of the Road.
Yeah,
in the sense that like that Yeonwoo was trying to like see evidence of the old him in Jun in the same way that like the couple in At the End of the Road was, where like it was like a kind of reincarnation thing. He like goes into another body, and the other guy is like, you were like my one friend whom I used to have.
Aww.
And like a very aggressive type, and the body he occupied is like belonged to a very timid person before.
And then when they grow up, like essentially their roles sort of
switch.
switch.
Yeah, exactly.
Where
exactly.
Yeonwoo is now the aggressive one, and Jun is more of the passive or like shy one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would you recommend readers to read this at night too? Like, would this be okay to read at night, or would you say no?
I guess if they're sensitive about it, then you probably don't read it at night. Then you might feel scared.
Yeah, because the art's really good.
yeah.
Which means that when they have the horror elements sort of pop up,
yeah,
it's sort of like it gets you, or like it does send a chill.
Yeah.
I'm sort of, I don't know. I guess I'm sort of numb to it, so I'm okay.
Like yeah. I think because see, for me it's different because like it was drawn very well, but it's still like art on a page. Like it doesn't have the same effect as like seeing a real life horror movie with like
so
real
it doesn't
human beings.
feel as like frightening.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah, exactly.
I would say the imagery is still somewhat scary though. Like
it
the
is.
hands being there. I think there are moments where like some scenes to portray what it's like, because some events that happen in the dark, so it's sort of hard to make out what's going on sometimes in some scenes. But definitely the reflections are the creepiest part, because the smile is just very unnerving.
Yeah, it is very unnerving. I think the most disturbing one, and it was done brilliantly, was when like they were trying to show that Jun and like his malice that was in the mirror had like merged, and like while he was leaving the house with Yeonwoo, he turns back and like the mirror just like reflects his true face with the red eyes and the extremely big grin. Like I was like, yo.
Yeah, no, that's scary because like throughout I guess the series, the reflections didn't really have eyes. You just saw their mouths. So to see the eyes finally show, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, and and it being superimposed on Jun's face, and like I think the one thing that I liked was that Jun seemed very innocent and like jovial and like a happy person. At least obviously he was trying to convey that. But like seeing such an evil expression on such a happy person's face was like, damn, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing I wanted to bring up. Okay, so this is something that I found interesting. Skipping like the serious stuff. I think Jun skips leg day.
You think he skips leg day?
Yes, because okay, here's what I think. Because like, look, in the scene where they fuck for the first time. Like, so he's a big part of what they do is he does taekwondo as a part of his like training for police, the police academy, and his like father figure who like raised him as when he was an orphan is also the taekwondo instructor. So like, and he's supposed to be the best taekwondo student and all of that. So it's like you work your legs. It's a lot of kicking. And so then when freaking Yeonwoo pulls his pants down when they're about to fuck for the first time, I'm like, his butt isn't toned at all. Oh I'm like, his legs just look so like dainty and he's like so round. I'm like, yo, where is the hardened muscle on this guy? Meanwhile, Yeonwoo, like, they never show him exercising once.
Oh, yeah, and he's a like, writer.
Yeah, and he's a freaking writer. He sits all day and he's buff as hell. Like, he's holding, like, choking, like...
Is that top
to Jun
energy?
Up. Exactly.
Is that top energy?
He was assigned top at birth.
Yeah. Oh, no. It's so
Made the
sad.
fuck, bro. But yeah, I was like, yo, like, I mean, look, it was beautiful art. I love the smut. It was beautiful. But like, I'm like, yo, give my boy some juice, dude. Like, I remember being like taken aback by that. I'm like, he has a nice round butt. It's supposed to be toned. Like, I was upset.
Hey, it's for the art, okay?
They
It's
had
for
the-
the aesthetic.
Yeah, they needed to
Yeah.
give him that bottom energy.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
Although he already exudes it with his like personality, though.
he does.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, oh, look, you're training to be a police officer. You're like, obviously it's shocking to come across these things, and like he has major trauma and stuff to deal with, but like, isn't this what you're educated in? Like figuring stuff out,
Oh, solving crime.
solving crime,
Well, maybe-
figuring things out, coming
maybe-
to the bottom of things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, yo, use some of your training. I don't think I'd want you as a cop. Like, you know,
Maybe being a police officer is different from being a detective.
I guess.
Maybe he wasn't trained to be a detective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. I thought he would like at least take measured but then again, it's a cop. Do cops ever take measured steps?
I don't know. I mean,
And
think
they're
about
all
all his
mentally
other
ill.
friends that were also part of the same police
Yeah.
academy. They were also like a bunch of assholes.
Yeah, they're all a
too.
bunch of douchebags. Only Hyunju was okay.
Yeah.
she was
Although
nice.
I thought it was weird that they painted the police, and maybe it's true in like South Korea that police academies are prestigious, because it sounded like the guys that were, his Jun's friends. They sounded like the stereotypical rich bullies.
Oh, yeah.
That would make fun of people's like backgrounds and things like
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
And
I
I'm like,
wonder-
if you're that rich, why are you going to become
Into
a police
law enforcement,
officer?
yeah. I don't know. That's interesting. Like, why? I guess like temporarily the question just came up. I was like, why did he choose to go into the police academy? But maybe because his father.
teacher.
Yeah.
But I think it works out.
Yeah.
I think one thing I also want to talk about is the entity itself. I think it was cool how in the beginning it seemed like it was these hands, like these disembodied hands. You thought like, oh, this only occurs in the house.
Right.
It's just like a haunted house, haunted mansion type of story. And then you realize that the hands sort of extend, and the reflections also extend outside of the home and in public. And then that movie theater scene that happened,
Yeah.
which is really weird
Right.
because like June doesn't really acknowledge it because he's too busy getting busy.
Yeah, they were busy having. They were busy going raw in the movie
And
theater.
then while they're like having these like hot smut scenes, like you see the dialogue of the audience screaming like, "Oh my god, is that blood? Like, what is
know.
happening?"
Like-
and yeah,
I think, and that was also something that where I was thinking about how like how much of it is Jun himself versus how much of it is Yonu manipulating him, because it was like while Yonu was clearly cognizant that all of this was going on, Jun wasn't. And like Yonu was kind of telling him like, are you scared of this or are you actually enjoying that this is happening while we're doing
well,
this?
clearly when they were in the black room, he was enjoying it a lot.
Yes.
That was the most anticipated scene I feel when they would.
No. When
have
would
their-
they fuck in the
the
black
black
room? Conquer their childhood trauma
oh
once
my
and for all.
Yeah.
But I think the other revelation that came with his slow kind of not corruption by the Black Mirror, but like, I guess, would you call it the Black Mirror like would you say it was corrupting him or more so just introducing him to his real self? Or like, has that been his real self the whole time, or was that something induced on him?
I think that low-key was sort of an inkling of his real self. Because when if you remember, there was like a flashback to their childhood.
Yeah.
And Yeonwoo and Jun are standing in front of the sleeping parents of Yeonwoo. And Jun is thinking to himself, like, oh my god, it'd be so easy to just kill them.
Right. Yeah.
I think that was like genuinely a thought that he had. So a part of him, and I feel like that goes for maybe everyone, like a part of you would have like these bad thoughts. Maybe the mirror allows like those feelings, like you said, it embodies those malevolent feelings and it amplifies them,
Right.
so that they maybe embrace that darkness and just accept that, like, yeah, I do want these people to be gone. And the mirror's like, all right, I'll let that.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
yeah,
I'll make them disappear.
I've got it.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder when so the whole point is that like Yanu's parents were like abusive people who like were treated him really badly, and when he was growing up, like they were very insistent that he like studies all the time and is a good student, and when he doesn't perform up to par, they throw him into like the black room and make him watch horror movies there by himself as a little kid, which is obviously traumatizing. But they knew it was cursed. They kept telling him like it's cursed, you know, and we're gonna put you in there if you're being a bad kid. Did they know that it actually was cursed, or like did they were they just like hyping up the fear in him? I don't think they like. I wonder if them saying it was cursed was just their way of abusing the kid and making him feel scared, because otherwise, why would they screw themselves over like that?
I feel like, I don't know. And that's where the theory goes with the cult thing. Maybe his parents were part of the cult that either wanted to summon this entity and they knew it was cursed. Because, right, having those mirrors there were lots of mirrors in that room, too. Not just that one big one. So I think it was there for a reason. And I also remember there was a moment where Yeonwoo mentioned, like, the smell of cigars would commonly come out from that room. So adults would often gather there, too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That it's like a kind of congregation of people who are trying to do something there.
Yeah. And especially if you think about towards the end where they're looking for more, then, oh yeah, it clearly is a cult because some other groups somewhere out there also have their own black rooms with these mirrors and things like that. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the writers should make a continuation and sort of go into like the travel stories of
like
June
what their
and
escapades.
Yeah, on how to find these black rooms so that they can tear more people apart.
Yeah, and just enact their rage on the world around them. Yes.
But the message at the end, I think when you're wondering why he would say that to his friend, I think for them, they saw the black room and the abilities it could offer, like a form of empowerment, because they were victims in their childhood of people who would try to suppress them, belittle them, and be condescending towards them. And that's what's happening with, what's her name
Hyunju.
again? Yeah, Hyunju, is she's experiencing the same thing. Like, she's struggling financially, she has some familial problems, and she's even struggling as a student because the teachers favor certain peers and she's clearly not one of them. Even though she tries hard and she might actually deserve, like, to be a top student. And so I think for June to tell her to find a black room is sort of his way of helping her out and being like, I want you to become strong too. And if you ever feel like you're in this low point where you don't have control over anything, maybe if you find a black room, you'll be able to like get rid of your enemies and get what you want. Yeah.
And or like and like be complete with your true self and like be armed with the ability to like take out anything in your way.
Yeah. Which isn't a good message.
It's not.
But
he's trying to help. He's trying to help in his own very bad way.
Yeah.
Oh, and this was the thing that I forgot to bring up earlier. But I think another thing with what the black room kind of opened up for him, or the mirrors, is this guy really enjoys getting dicked down.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. I think he was like, it starts, of course, where he's like very kind of like, like he tries to resist and he's shy about it and everything. But as like, and he was obviously terrified by those hands that are like, and it's sometimes implied that it was Yunu who's kind of touching him. But like over time, he's just like, yeah, this feels great. Oh my God. And he clearly has a huge choking kink.
Yeah, he does. He does.
So I thought that was interesting. I'm like, what does, I guess, I mean, who am I to say? Because in my mind, I'm like, where is the lore connecting this shit to this plot, and I'm like, this isn't plot. This is the yaoi part of the story.
This is the yaoi part, yes. It is the yaoi part.
It is disconnected, yeah.
Which is like a main thing throughout the chapters for this series, is that you'll have like some cute fluffy scenes, some very hot scenes, and then they'll remind you like, hey, by the way, this is a horror story. And then they'll jump scare you with like something freaky.
Right.
But
I think funniest part to me was at the end when like the last thing the instructor sees before like being torn apart is his son being fucked.
Yeah.
In the room where he's being killed in. What a horrible way to end his life.
It's okay.
That was so funny.
That's just how it be.
That's just how it be. I'm not gonna lie, that was hot. I think everything, like you said, was leading up to that moment.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yep.
I feel, though, it was kind of sacrilegious, though. Because I'm thinking of them as, like, two little kids holding their hands, like, really tightly and, like, trying to, like, break out of it or, like, feeling that intense rage against Yonu's parents and everything. Mm-hmm. And then they're just having hardcore rage sex in there. Like, yo, they're just...
with
terrible.
Their hands, with the disembodied
with
hands,
the freaking hands, exactly. I'm like, yo, Jesus Christ. I think also one interesting thing I found was that I feel there was only one part where Yeonu showed genuine empathy or sympathy toward what's Jun's situation, is when Jun explained like how much he was ridiculed by other kids and ostracized due to him being an orphan, and then his role in trying to remember like how in he was trying to explain to the police officers when they arrived on the scene as they were kids after the parents exploded and whatever, and he was like, the hands came and then they like killed him, and then like along with being an orphan, now he looks like he's mentally ill. And he was being humiliated for that. And I think that was when Yeonu finally was like, oh, so now I kind of understand why he tried not to remember that. Yeah. That was the only part where I think he was genuinely felt remorseful. Everything else was like he was trying to induce him to remember those terrible things so that it was all selfish in the end, I felt. I don't think he was... I mean, I guess in his own way, he felt like he was looking after Jun's well-being, but it was more so he was trying to get him to be the version of him that he liked. Yeah. Not necessarily for Jun's own benefit.
Yeah. I think if Jun never really gave in to his dark side, I guess, I don't think Yeonwoo would have been as interested. Yeah, I think it's sort of like how I said in the first chapter, like there was a form of disgust in his tone when he realized that Jun didn't remember anything at all.
Right.
Yeah, which is really sad because if you think about it, at least it seemed in the first chapter that Jun was really happy with his life. Yeah.
And I think like, yeah, that's true. He seemed happy, and then like over time, there were interesting parts in the story where like Yeonu like kind of pushes back against people without caring what they felt, and then in Jun's mind he feels like, I wish I could do that. And then that's when he slowly starts kind of giving, and he starts doing the same actions as him, like putting the cigarette butt out. I guess it was just, I don't know how much Yeonu did this for his own benefit versus like just manipulating.
I think Yeonwoo was like the classic top syndrome.
Yeah.
He was possessive and obsessive with Jun.
Yeah.
Because I think he said the main trigger for killing his aunt and uncle was that they were barring him from ever getting back into contact with Jun, and that's how they ended up dying, because he was trying to find a way to get back to him. I think he even said that when he wrote the book Evaporation, based off Jun, he was hoping that if it got popular enough, Jun would find his way back to him and remember.
Right.
And so he has the twisted love for Jun.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, I don't think he was after the abilities that June also shared
Right,
on the
right.
side. I think he genuinely wanted him by his side. And that was probably stemming from the trauma in their childhood where June was always there to support him when he was still weak and afraid.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
What do you think of? I wish they kind of also went into like June's parents. Like what?
Well, he's an
Why
orphan, so his
yeah,
parents
so like
don't
why did he
exist.
like? But like why did they abandon him? Like I wonder if that could have also played a plot point in the story, right? Like that would have been interesting to explore.
Yeah. It also might explain why the mentor was sort of forced to adopt him and stuff like that.
Right,
Or
right.
why June was considered a lucky charm. Was it because the mentor was part of that cult? Is it? I don't know if it's sort of hinted that he's part of the cult. If he knew the aunt and uncle,
I don't know
if that could be a trigger. And also, like, the familiar smell of cigars that came from that room. Like, could that cigar smell also be from the mentor who also smoked as well?
I
Yeah.
I actually don't think so because I
think so?
remember
Okay.
when there was like a scene where there's like a flashback and he was with the aunt and uncle like at their house. And he had to go to the bathroom and he went upstairs and he discovered the weird shit happening there and he freaked out and
Oh, he
came
freaked
downstairs.
out? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that crosses out that conspiracy
Yeah.
theory. Okay.
Yeah. Eh.
Yeah.
So I think there were other things that could have been explained, but like for the most part, I think it was more so an exploration of their relationship than anything else because it is a BL.
It is a BL. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, compared to like some other manhwas out there, I feel like the ending was somewhat satisfying for me.
Yeah.
I wasn't left feeling disappointed or anything like that. It's again the series is only 62 chapters, so it's if you think about it, it's relatively short compared to other series. And I think they did a good job condensing the plot without feeling super rushed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. It felt a satisfying like inevitable end for these two terrible people.
Yes. Yeah.
With their terrible twisted relationship.
What people wished happened in Killing Stalking.
Yeah, exactly. Instead that ended horribly, but
yeah, which is okay. That's fine. But this one, yeah, not too bad. It's okay.
Yeah.
Especially since like you do feel sympathy for both June and Yeonwoo.
Yes.
Sort of like star-crossed lovers that were torn apart and they found their way together through murder and weird hands and choking.
Yes.
Yeah.
However they could, they did it. It's okay.
Favorite moment?
Oh, favorite moment. Oh, okay. I think my favorite moment was when Yeonu stubs the cigarette out. Oh, not Yeonu. Jun, when he does it, I was like, my boy, fight back. These people are dicks. Yeah. I think that was my favorite one. I think that's when I like because it was a constant push and pull for him because he was like somewhat giving into his like his instincts or like he was being overwhelmed by all of these hallucinations and everything and he was just like kind of losing it. So he would do like an action or two that would be crazy. Like that scene also where he was going way too far in sparring.
Yeah.
And then he'd feel really bad and like he'd have a moment of clarity and then like come back to normal. And then he'd do it again a little more and still question himself and then finally he accepted it. But I think when that moment when he did that cigarette moment was like he's finally making a major step toward just accepting who he truly is. Yeah, that was I feel my favorite moment. But what about you?
For me, the moment was when is it the first night that he was there? And or maybe like the second night where he ends up like having a wet dream about Yeonwoo.
Oh,
and he ends
yeah,
up,
yeah.
He like deals with his morning wood in the morning. He makes a mess on the sheets, and then like Yeonwoo and Jun are cleaning it together. And he's trying to not be as awkward as because like he's super embarrassed, right? He's thinking like this guy, he was kind enough to let me live in his house. We're technically childhood friends. I'm having like these dirty thoughts about him. And then Yeonwoo clearly clears up the air about like whatever misunderstanding that Jun has, and like tells him like pretty much confirms like his attraction to him.
He says,
And
it's
he, like,
okay, you
blushes,
can
he-
like, dream
you
about
know
me
me,
when
and
you're touching
You're so-
yourself.
yeah, and like he blushes so much from that, and he's like, oh my god, it's okay for me to like him and
Right.
stuff. And there's lots of moments in the story where like there's like these super cute like emotions and facial expressions that the characters have. It's also a little goofy,
Yeah.
so it sort of like breaks the like the heavy air that the story has. Yeah,
That's true. They're little kind of quirks and everything. I think it's funny how like emotionally volatile like Hyunwoo is. Like he'll go from one moment to just like being very annoyed to like then cooking the most delicious meal on the planet.
Yes.
Like it's cute. I think they're good murder husbands.
they are a match made in hell.
Yay!
Oh well.
Oh yeah, one thing that I found interesting is this is completely random and completely unrelated. But Hyunju is also the name of that one character in Squid Game season 2.
Oh really?
Yeah. I just found that interesting.
What's their character? Because I think it's like heavily hinted that maybe Hyunju could be like a trans.
That's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
Hyunju is also a trans character in Squid Game season 2.
Oh.
Yeah, she's a trans woman.
Because like when I saw her character, I thought that like I was like, oh, it's just another one of his guy friends, and then he refers to her as like a she, and I'm like, oh, and like
Yeah.
yeah.
It reminds me of there's this one side character. There's another BL that I read for some time. I need to pick back up on it again. It's called Shutline. But one of the characters, like, there's basically the main character is part of he works on cars. They're part of like a team of mechanics, and like the team lead is like someone named Caesar.
Oh.
And like the person has like cropped blonde hair, and like all like everyone in the mechanic team are dudes and everything. But at some time it's later revealed that Caesar is a girl, and everyone was like, "Holy shit, no way!" But yeah, I think it's interesting.
I was so worried that she would end up being a victim to the hands.
Oh yeah.
Because she was okay. I was like, oh, she survived.
Remember, were you there when we watched Joker?
Yes.
Remember that scene where it was like he was doing his rampage and there was like that really short character, the dwarf character, and like
he was trying to leave.
Yeah, that was
He was letting him leave, but it was locked.
Yeah, that was. I remember everyone in the theater was like screaming, like, "Yo, get out of there!" But eventually he was like, "Let him go." It was just really sad, but like that was what the situation was.
It was a twisted situation.
Yeah. Do you think Taejun had a very nice birthday party at the end?
I think he did. He had his happy ending.
Yeah, he got
in
his
more
gift.
ways than one.
Exactly, he got many things done.
Yeah.
Very productive birthday.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think that was like their first meeting with each other after their breakup.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. I think that was interesting too, because like when the coach came back all drunk and then like fell asleep and then like kind of incriminated himself to all of these deeds, Taejun kind of came to the conclusion where he was like, did Yeonu kind of do this on purpose to kind of
convince him to
yeah. I thought that was
Loki. He did. I feel like
think
he did.
Yeah.
That's why he made him so drunk, because he probably knew. I mean, it gets the truth out faster, but at the same time, it's sort of like, wow,
yeah. Classic drunk confessions.
Yeah. How do you feel about the breakup trope? I don't care too much for those.
In that moment, I understood it. I understood why Jun was so upset, because in that moment, Yeonu kind of basically just admitted that he didn't like him for who he was like now. He liked him for who he was back then, and he wanted him to become that person again. And this whole time, Jun was just feeling innocent as can be. He genuinely felt love for who Yeonu is as a person, not comparing him to anything that he was before. And he had like strong feelings for him. And then Yeonu kind of expressed disgust kind of over the fact that Jun had like felt that toward him. And I think that would be really hurtful for anyone to hear.
Yeah.
Like not being liked for who they were, but who they could be. Like,
yeah.
that's kind of messed up.
Yeah, and that goes back to your point. You're wondering if Yeonwoo had good intentions or not,
Yeah.
trying to get back with June in the very beginning.
Right, right.
Yeah. Well, they're together now.
Yeah, they're good to go.
Yeah.
Everything's okay.
Yeah.
And
A big part of it does stand true. Like, how much is their malevolence influenced by this entity?
I wonder, because it was more like that entity was supposed to reflect the malice that already existed within them, but because Taejun in particular was suppressing it for so long, it just felt stronger. Because like it kind of like an addiction, where like the longer that you go off of something for some time, the stronger you feel a
The more
need
withdrawal,
for it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I also think that it's probably stronger within Taejun because he is the one that probably originally had those malevolent thoughts without the
Right.
entity being present.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. He
Yeah.
felt that's true. Yanu was actually kind of nice when he was a kid, but
Yeah, he was sort of like a little pushover.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
yeah.
He's only 5.
He was. See, I think every kid is a pushover at that age.
Yeah.
But yeah, Taejun was definitely like
He was
kind
an
of-
orphan. He had to
yeah.
like fend for himself. So
Yeah.
it makes sense that he has like this survival attitude or instinct. Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And I guess like kind of Yonu looked up to that a lot as like something that could save him. And so when he saw that was gone in him, it was like an edge that was lost that made him very attractive. But I guess that's also kind of, it reminds me of those stories where it's like a partner reveals that they're no longer attracted to their partner after they've gained weight. And it's like that's exactly what that situation was. It's like they're the same person, or Jun is the same person, he's just a different version of himself. And like instead of welcoming that, Yunu's like,
He's like, I liked you better when you were traumatized.
Exactly.
And I'm like,
Yes.
"Ah,
Exactly. What a terrible
dude."
thing to think. But then again, he always technically was like that, and he was just trying to skate past his life. So
Yeah. Which is nice because it gives you more complicated and complex characters.
right.
So there's not really someone who's clearly in the wrong versus someone clearly in the right.
Yeah.
Or like there's really no true antagonists in this story, I feel.
Yeah.
Maybe the parents,
Yeah.
right? Like what they did was clearly abusive. But like the whole thing where you're exterminating people who have wronged you, that's like some dangerous light Yagami mentality going on.
Yeah. They just need that notebook.
Yeah. They literally are the Notebook.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. Oh, one thing I was wondering is, I understand that the black room is filled with mirrors. Why is the entire house filled with mirrors? Like, what's the purpose of that? Did Yono literally put those mirrors up on purpose to fuck with Jun? Or, like...
the entity seems to communicate through reflections. Because you could see it in the bathroom mirrors, and then you can also see it in the, like, window reflections. So maybe he purposely put the mirrors like all around the house so it was easier to control or easier to clean up messes.
That's
when
true.
you
Whenever
evaporate somebody.
if you like to kill someone on the floor, there's a mirror right here to send him off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think another interesting tidbit was like Yonu seemed to have a better ability to communicate with these mirror dimension beings than Jun did. Yeah. It was like he literally would converse with them sometimes, and like when they're speaking to him from the mirror.
I wonder when he like talked to them, was he talking to his own reflection too? Because when June is seen talking to the reflections, it's almost like a manic conversation.
Yeah.
Where he's sort of confronting his true self and sort of in denial with it.
Yeah.
But I wonder if, like, Yeonwoo, whenever he confronts or speaks to the entity that could most likely be his reflection, he sees it as a separate being and not really himself.
Yeah, that's a good question. Has he, at the time when the story starts, has Yeonwoo, like, merged with his, like, with his malevolent self, or are they still two separate beings, like you mentioned?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, it's
I mean, he was like a dark character through and through throughout the story.
That's true. That's true. He was more than willing to like happily leverage the mirrors to his advantage.
Yeah.
But when in the black room, when the entity was revealing itself, the two figures in the mirror were like the childhood reflections of both Yeonwoo and Taejun. So like, I guess it's like I don't know. Like, are they separate or are they the same?
It's weird too, because in the end you see the reflections of each other sort of merge together as they walk away and leave.
Oh shit! I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so maybe it is a single entity.
Yeah, and they just do that to like communicate to each person.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah. I don't think I've read any BL that's similar to Black Mirror though.
Yeah, I don't know if I've
which
read
is
any
why I feel like
BLs.
it stands out a lot to all the other BLs that I've read before.
Yes, this one definitely dove into the horror stuff.
Yeah, definitely unique, and definitely worth the reread for sure. It doesn't really get boring.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I feel like if you read it again, you'll find clues and stuff again that might, that were threaded throughout. Yeah. I'm wondering if imagine if there were like feet instead of like hands coming out of it. It's not as threatening.
No, but it's probably more
they didn't want to. Yeah, someone will.
You
get
can't
their
really
feet
choke
kink.
someone with your feet.
Yeah, you can step on them though.
I guess.
Yeah.
Not as cool. Not as cool.
What if someone has a kink of being stepped on?
No, because then like I feel like the hands make sense because like Jun tends to choke himself out a lot. So like, what's he gonna do with his feet? You know what I mean? Like put it in his mouth. Like I don't know.
Who knows? Yo, that guy seems to be into anything.
Yeah, he does. He's pretty open to it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're open to like some bloody hands, I think you're open to a lot of things.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it was a good series.
Yes, that was enjoyable for sure.
I'm looking forward to more works if the author chooses to write more stories that are similar to it.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Yes. Let's see some even more interesting kinks.
Yes. Yeah.
Somehow try to manifest themselves through horror.
Tastefully.
Yes, and artistically.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
Thank
end.
you.